It's All-Star Race week. We've got a lot to talk about today, previewing Saturday night's main event. And we also get to look at some of you guys' responses to my Twitter question I asked earlier this week. So, full show ahead. How's it going, you guys? My name is Eric, and welcome to Out of the Groove. I want to give a shout out to Body Armor Sports Drink. Team Penske, that's right, the Team Penske, sent me a special edition Ryan Blaney Body Armor bottle. This is pretty intense for a drink, but they are running a special sweepstakes that's coming to an end this weekend. If you're heading to the race in Charlotte this Saturday night, be sure to check out one of the nearby Circle K locations and be on the lookout for Ryan Blaney edition bottles of Body Armor. This is only available at Circle K locations in the greater Charlotte area, and each store only has 12 of these in stock, so I guess I'm pretty fortunate to have one in my possession. If you find one of these bottles, take a picture of yourself with it, tag at Drink Body Armor, and use hashtag BlaneyBottle. This will enter you in their sweepstakes, and one grand prize winner will get a VIP experience with Ryan Blaney at Charlotte in October, the Roval, so don't miss out. Keep an eye out for these things, and yes, thank you Team Penske and Body Armor for sending me one of these things. I gotta try it out. Now, we do have a good amount of things I want to talk about on this show. It's a Thursday episode. We just have 2 days before the All-Star Race, so of course we're going to talk about expectations for that race, but before I get too far into that, I do want to mention one news story I saw the other day. It's a rumor still, but it's coming from a pretty reliable source regarding future All-Star events. This report from Adam Stern talks about a now widespread rumor that NASCAR is seriously considering changing the venue for the All-Star Race going forward. It cites a text from Jeff Gordon, who's currently working for Fox Sports, and they also have, I guess, other insider information that suggests that Martinsville and even Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway have been considered to possibly replace Charlotte as a future All-Star Race event. Obviously, these are just rumors, but Adam Stern from Sports Business Journal has been ahead of a lot of rumors in the past. He's a great reporter who we often end up citing on this show. I don't know how I feel about this. There's some other news around Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway this week. Apparently, they're pitching a $60 million plan to renovate the speedway. Not sure how that went yet. Not sure if talks have progressed any since then, but we know that Nashville Fairgrounds, Speedway Motorsports, and NASCAR are still working with the city of Nashville, Tennessee, and everyone involved to try and make a race happen there in the near future. But an All-Star Race? I don't know if that's happening. Next year, I believe the All-Star Race is still planned to be in Charlotte, but 2021 is the big year where schedule could be completely overhauled. Maybe we see a new venue there. Martinsville, being mentioned, is interesting to me. I think a lot of fans like short tracks. Martinsville, Virginia, still in that kind of similar region as North Carolina, as Charlotte, so the fans wouldn't necessarily be missing out too much, but I don't know how you guys feel about it. I don't even know how I feel about this. I do feel like the All-Star Race has lost some of its luster over the last several years. Now, last year's All-Star Race with that crazy restrictor plate package was definitely eventful, definitely fun to watch, but still I feel like the All-Star Race is just kind of a mini Coke 600 to get you ready for the Coke 600. Changing it up, or as Jeff Gordon mentions in this text, rotating it between different tracks year after year, I think that could be a really good way to keep it fresh, keep it interesting, and spread the wealth to all different racetracks, all different regions. I think that's a smart way to do it. Martinsville, Nashville Fairgrounds, could be good places to start with it, but I'd be curious to know what you guys think. Now, we'll talk a little bit more about the 2019 All-Star Race in a couple days, in just a few minutes, but before that, I want to have a little bit of fun on this show. The NFL Draft was a few weeks ago, and then the NBA Draft Lottery was just the other night, and as a result, I'll just talk about drafting players, who wants to be in what spot, what's the position to go for, all that type of stuff. I thought it'd be interesting to ask you guys on Twitter, if you were starting a team in NASCAR, a Cup Series team today, which 4 drivers would you want to pick? If you had the first 4 draft picks, who would you want your 4 drivers to be representing your team? And I was not prepared for the more than 400 responses you guys tweeted at me on Twitter, so let's get to reading some of them. This is the Twitter question of the week, sponsored by Ridge Wallet. There's the question I asked right there. Maybe you can follow me on Twitter at EricEastep17. Now, I kind of messed up. I meant to specify that you could only pick current drivers, but I didn't specify that in the question because I'm an idiot. So some of you guys gave me all-time greats as part of your race team, so I'll show some of those as well. But initially, I meant to say current drivers. I'm gonna look at a few of you guys' responses here. Here's some current drivers listed. I agree with most of these. Kyle Busch, Brad Keselowski, veterans who've won championships now, but then you also got young guys in there like Chase Elliott. I think that's smart to have a mix, especially if you're starting a brand new team. If you're going with an all-time list, and I saw this on a lot of people's, it's hard to not put Jeff Gordon in there. It's hard to not put Dale Earnhardt Sr., kind of like an enforcer. I feel like that'd be a smart thing to have on your team. Ed Soundhead, very unique here. Brad Keselowski, Eric Jones, Chris Buescher, Ross Chastain. Now, I did read all 400 plus of these responses, and I noticed Ross Chastain appeared on an awful lot of them. I was surprised by this. He's good, don't get me wrong, but even among current drivers, would he be one of my first 4 that I'd pick? I like Ross Chastain a lot. I think he deserves a good opportunity in the Cup or Xfinity Series. But would I put him on my Cup Series team if I was starting out today? I don't know, but I do think it's interesting that a lot of people put Ross Chastain on here. I didn't see a lot of Chris Buescher or Eric Jones's though, so that's why this one caught my attention. I couldn't show all the responses you guys sent me, so I tried to pick the ones that a lot of people seem to be interacting with. Here's one. Kyle Busch, Ross Chastain, Alex Bowman, Brad Keselowski. Another one I really like. You got two veterans in there, Keselowski, Busch, but then you got a couple of younger guys who showed potential. Bowman, Chastain, another one with Ross Chastain. Again, if we're going with an all-time list, I like throwing Alan Kulwicki in here, Mr. Consistent, that's how he calls him. I like that. And then you got Bill Elliott, he's there for fanfare to sell merchandise, that's great. Kyle Busch is going to get you results. And again, Ross Chastain. I'm telling you, Ross Chastain was on like 90% of these lists, I swear. I like this one, Ryan Newman, just because he's hard to pass. You know, he is hard to pass, so I guess you want to have him on your team. Maybe he'll go easy on your guys. Especially by current driver standards, I like this one a lot as well. You get Ross Chastain and Brett Moffitt in there, two guys that have outperformed their equipment in recent years. Of course, Kyle Busch, who the results speak for themselves. And then Christopher Bell, who was also on a lot of you guys' lists. He's probably the top guy in the Xfinity Series today, top prospect. Definitely thinks he deserves a cup ride sooner rather than later. A lot of young guys on this one. Chase Briscoe, Christopher Bell, obviously, but this one, an all-young guy team. That would make me a little afraid. You'd kind of feel like if I was starting a new team, I'd want at least one veteran driver. That being said, these are a lot of the top young guys in the sport around there today. Tyler Reddick getting some love. I saw him on a few lists here. He's the current Xfinity points leader. He's the defending Xfinity Series champion. Yeah, I gotta give Tyler Reddick a little bit of love. Yeah, I like this one a lot. Chastain, I like Blaney, I like Bowman. I think both of them are, they're poised to do great things in the future. Ryan Sieg being mentioned in this one. That's a name you don't hear too often. Current driver in the Xfinity Series, but I like most of this list here as well. A lot of very interesting responses, and I found it very amusing how many similarities we saw. Haley Deegan was not mentioned as often as I thought she'd be. Of course, Ross Chastain is there again, but Haley Deegan, having her kind of there, again, she's going to sell tickets, she's going to sell merchandise, and I think she's the real deal. I think she can actually perform in the Cup Series one day. Maybe not now. She's a little young to be, if you're starting a team today, to put Haley Deegan in a cup car, that's a little much. But I definitely want her in my system, like in my Xfinity or Truck Series team. You know, I'd want her around. I definitely want her for the future. And yeah, again, Ross Chastain pretty much was on, I'm telling you guys, almost all of these lists. I thought that was the most interesting thing about posting this survey, was seeing how many people have bought into the Ross Chastain hype. Again, I don't mean to act like Ross Chastain's a scrub. No, Ross Chastain's great, but I don't know. Young drivers I'd put ahead of him: Ryan Blaney, Chase Elliott, Eric Jones, Kyle Larson if he counts. I mean, there's just four off the top of my head that I think are ahead of Ross Chastain right now. Not by a lot, but they're at least equal or slightly ahead in my opinion. Joey Logano if he counts. Alex Bowman I think might be a little bit better. You know, if I put William Byron versus Ross Chastain, I'd probably go Chastain just because he's a little older, he's got more experience. But my point is, as much as I love Ross Chastain and think he deserves a good ride in either the Cup or Xfinity Series in the near future, I'm not sure I'm ready to put him ahead of guys like, you know, Ryan Blaney, Alex Bowman, Chase Elliott. I'm not ready to do that just yet. But anyway, yeah, that was the Twitter question of the week, sponsored by Ridge Wallet. Remember, you can go to ridgewallet.com/groovy to get 10% off your order. Go check them out. They make an amazing wallet. Unlike any other wallet on the market, you will not be disappointed. It's durable, it's slim, it's sleek, it looks cool. It comes in more than 12 different styles and colors. So yeah, go check out ridgewallet.com/groovy to get 10% off your order. You will not be disappointed. Huge thank you to Ridge Wallet for sponsoring that segment. We've got some endorsements on this show, guys. Is this what the big time feels like? Thank you guys for the support. You guys are the reason this show has gotten as far as it has. I couldn't do this without the support from all of you who watch every single week, but thank you to Ridge Wallet. Now we've got to talk about the AllStar Race. That's how I want to wrap up this episode, because we've got some kind of behind the scenes, some things to glance at. For starters, have you guys seen this photo? It was leaked. I'm still not sure if it's legit, but this is what the new hood ducts are going to look like on the AllStar Race cars this weekend. If you guys don't remember, I did an episode a few weeks back where NASCAR said they were going to test possible Gen 7 elements on this AllStar Race aero package. Those hood ducts, like you see in that picture there, are one of the things NASCAR is testing this weekend that could possibly be used on the next generation race car. Honestly, it looks interesting. Again, this photo is not confirmed. I was found it on Reddit, but it made a lot of noise over there, so I think it's probably legitimate. It looks like the cars have nostrils on them. I don't hate it. It definitely looks weird, and it's strange to me that it's right there in the center of the hood, which might get in the way of like where sponsors usually put their logos. So I don't know how it's actually going to look on the racetrack, but assuming this is how they're going to look, how this is actually a real photo, that's unique. That is different. We haven't seen that look on a Cup car before. But speaking of the aero package for this weekend's race, gone are the restrictor plates that we saw last year in this race. Instead, we're just back to the 550 horsepower with the large rear spoiler, the splitter, the aero ducts, and everything. Basically exactly what we ran at Kansas last weekend, except add these hood ducts. I don't know if that's exactly what they're called. Now, the racing at Kansas last Saturday night saw a lot of positive feedback. I'm not sure that the racing we're going to see this Saturday night is going to be exactly the same, but I do think it'll be similar. It worked for Kansas because it was a night race, cooler temperatures, and it's a smoother racetrack. It's still relatively newly paved. Charlotte is similar in a lot of ways. It's a mile and a half as well. Its pavement's still pretty new, pretty it's not a super rough track, and of course it's also going to be racing under the lights this weekend. Kansas, though, temperature was in like the 50s. I don't know how the weather's looking for this Saturday night. It's probably going to be warmer than the 50s given that we're in May, but still the cooler temperatures could help us see similar racing to what we saw at Kansas Speedway. It's not going to look like straight up pack racing like we saw here last year with the restrictor plates, obviously. There's going to be more horsepower in the engines. Cars aren't going to be that slowed down. But we could see something very similar to what we saw at Kansas last weekend, and I think for the AllStar Race, a race where $1 million is on the line, a race where there's only 19 participants after the open race, it's going to be a slugfest. It's going to be intense. It's going to be crazy. People are going to be going for it all. We saw like those crazy blocks like Eric Jones threw on Clint Boyer at the end of last week's race. I mean, this is for $1 million now. Those blocks are going to be far more frequent. There's some big names in that open race, so I suggest tuning in. Kyle Larson, Alex Bowman, William Byron, Suarez, Bubba Wallace, to name a few, are also in that race. Matt DiBenedetto. There's probably going to be a couple big name drivers, big name teams that don't make it to the AllStar Race this year, and I think that's going to set the stage for some dramatic racing Saturday afternoon before the AllStar Race. I'll flash up there one more time. These are the 15 drivers currently locked in. Not a huge field, but again, we'll be adding 4 more drivers via the open race and the fan vote. So it's going to be a full, 19 cars for the main event AllStar Race. I'm excited, man. It's a fun race. It's an exhibition race. It's a good time just to sit back and enjoy NASCAR and in a primetime stage. I do wish they'd bring back like the pit crew challenge that they used to do many years ago. I think they usually did that like Friday night, I guess. That was a lot of fun. I wish they'd bring that back, but no signs of them doing so in the near future. So is what it is. We'll still have a fun, action-packed Saturday evening of racing. Hope you guys are looking forward to it. As far as picks for this race go, I'm picking Chase Elliott to win. Chevy's run really well the last 3 weeks. Chase Elliott had a top 5 car at Kansas last weekend, and I think this race will be similar looking to that one. So I think the Chevys will be good, and I'll go with Chase Elliott. He's been the winningest Chevy the last year and a half, so I'll go with him. But let me know who your guys' picks are for the AllStar Race. Hope you enjoyed this episode. I will see you guys again later this weekend after the AllStar Race, and that'll be when my next episode is up. Thanks everyone so much for watching. As always, you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram. Those links are down in the description. You can get yourself an Out of the Groove t-shirt if you want to pick up one of those down there. Support the show. I really appreciate that. Remember, you have until May 25th to send me anything to my P.O. box, which I will, of course, if you send me some cool NASCAR stuff, I'll show it off and shout you out in an upcoming episode. But you have until May 25th to mail that to me before I have to close that P.O. box. And then, of course, a big thank you to my Patreon supporters. Huge thank you to Michael Harrison at Givas of the Stars, SelfishGifts.com, Mentally Defective, Cameron James, John Koblentz, Jason R. Long, Wesley Donaldson, Isaac Dennison, Mika Suzuki, iFantasyRace.com, Ross Corlett, TheRacingInsiders.com, and the rest of these amazing Patreon supporters. I couldn't do the show without the support from you guys, from the support of all of you watching at home. But if you want to also support me, as well as these other Patreon guys, you can check out that top link down in the description. I greatly appreciate it. It means a ton to me. I feel like I've talked really fast in this episode. I don't know why. I'm not really in a rush or anything, but anyway, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Like I said, I'll be back later this weekend after the AllStar Race. Hopefully we see some fireworks, something exciting Saturday night. I think it'll be a good one. So thanks for watching, everyone. See you guys again very, very soon. Bye-bye, y'all.